Welcome and thank you everyone for joining us for another Twitter Space. Today is September 23rd, 2022, and this is episode 47 of the ledgerscale Internet of Value Open Forum. Now, ledgerscale Foundation was founded with two goals in mind. One, we want to provide educational services to not only our community, but to the entire digital asset community, and to help scale up the number of brains that understand how distributed ledger technology works. And two, we intend to one day run hardware to provide infrastructural support to the distributed ledger technology networks that we believe are ESG friendly and running a form of decentralized consensus. Now, we host these spaces Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, starting at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. And on Wednesday, we host a focused topic space from 5 to 6 Eastern Standard Time. And if I could just ask if everyone could give us a follow on Twitter at ledgerscale, turn those notifications on so you know we're going live. And as well as, if I could, at the bottom right, if I could ask if everyone could like and retweet the space so that hopefully other people can find this information valuable in the future. I'm not sure what happened with Karma, but I'm inviting everybody up. If anybody has anything they'd like to talk about, please feel free to just come up and get the conversation started on whatever topics are on the top of your mind.
So I'm not sure. Can you guys hear me?
But I'm inviting everybody up. If anybody has anything they'd like to talk about, please feel free to just come up and get the conversation started on whatever topics are on the top of your mind. So I'm not sure. Can you guys hear me? But I'm inviting everybody up. If anybody has anything they'd like to talk about, please feel free to just come up and get the conversation started on whatever topics are on the top of your mind. So I'm not sure. I am really not sure what just happened. Sorry about that, everybody, for the technical difficulties. Karma, are you there on your account now?
Can you hear me too?
Karma, you're on the wrong Twitter account, bud. You have to sign off the Twitter account you're on and go on to the Karma coverage one. But yes, Steak, I heard you.
I'm just waiting for Karma to come on. Seems fair.
No, you're good, man. Just go ahead if you have a topic you'd like to begin speaking about.
Yeah, I actually do. A very important
whenever.
one.
Go ahead. You can start it up.
Oh, that's cool. It's a big one though.
It's a really, really big one, Dev Ranger. But today, the start of the digital identity started. So that's a big one, I guess.
I'm not sure I understand.
Well, just the implementation of digital identity. It started today.
Where's that at?
In the Netherlands. And it's the prototype for the European ID and probably for the US and the South American and Middle Eastern ID as well. So that's a pretty big one.
Yeah, I mean, you can really think about it, right? ID is pretty much already digital, but in the means of being able to have digital sovereign ID, I think this is definitely the next step.
Yeah, and our Minister of Digitalization that has this agenda in our portfolio, which is the digital European identity. The prototype of it was supposed to launch in September this year, and I've been saying that since December last year. So I was wondering when it would launch, and it turns out the minister today tweeted that she's gonna discuss it next week in Dutch government, and going to Brussels after that to discuss it in the European Union. So the prototype testing was only 1 month, and she's already pursuing it. So they're incredibly fast.
If they are talking about prototyping it and running it, they've probably been working on it for years.
Yeah,
Most governments.
it's already finished.
Exactly. Yeah,
So
what's taking long enough?
so that's pretty big news in my opinion. Which means that I'm gonna be following this topic from the Netherlands in the media itself, and I'll be covering it for you guys here. So
The time is impeccable. It's just in time for Zum, who's now going to be releasing their on and off ramp in the Netherlands. They're almost ready.
yeah, that's funny, huh? How that goes. And I've got some things
That's
with
interesting.
Digibyte with the digital identity this month as well. That's being pitched to Homeland Security and to big tech in Europe, which is just a happy coincidence, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's a small world.
Yeah, it's all the same agenda, same timeline, which I still think which basically confirms me. It makes me confident that I am spot on for coming in the XRP community from the Digibyte community, thinking that it's two different sides of the same coin. You're going at the banking system, we're going at the Web3 system. I still think that there's some kind of truth in there because the timelines constantly line up.
Well, one chain can't validate all of the information, so it's definitely a multi-chain world.
Yeah, yeah, amen to that. I agree. So I can yeah, I can go in depth about digital identity if people want to, but it's if people don't have any questions, then we can also move on to a different subject, I guess.
I like the digital ID stuff. It's up to you, Fridge Wolf. Do you have anything you'd like to talk about? If not, we can go into it.
Oh, I was just pulling up to say happy Friday to everyone. But stakes, yeah, the digital identities is a great topic. So
Yeah, would you like to know more about it, or do you have questions about it?
not yet. Can you tell what you have on the menu? So
Oh,
maybe.
did you know that a census, basically registering what your identity is and all sorts of credentials of a person, did you know historically that doing that creates genocides? That's a funny one, right?
I haven't been digging too much into that. Could you explain that?
Just a bit of doom and gloom to start off with, and then I'll go to the happy stuff. But it actually happened multiple times in history. One very famous example for people in the Netherlands is that by capita, the Netherlands actually delivered the most Jewish people to the Germans in the Second World War, which was a bit of a stain of shame after the World War that the Netherlands had such high quota of shipping Jews to gas chambers. And it turns out that the main reason for that to happen is that all information, credentials about inhabitants, civilians were listed with the census at municipalities, and the records were very much in order. It's a very organized country. So every single Jew was registered with their religion on their address and their name. So it was very easy for the Germans to just get those files and then basically razzia all the Jews and put them on trains to death camps. And that's just one example of listing down information that if you have a malicious actor, if you sometimes, as a country, fall under the laws of a dictator, that that data can be used in a wrong manner. And since the US is such a relatively new country and only has had very good times and just building up and upwards, the discussion is never being talked about that at one point in the future you might have a malicious actor as an owner of a country and create some sort of genocide or cleansing in the country itself. So that conversation always snows under when it goes global. That's the doom and gloom stuff. The positive stuff is that it can speed up a lot of bureaucracy with the state. So every single document that you have to file with the state, every single thing that you want to ask for, a permit or maybe an insurance or maybe a benefit that you legally have a right to, but it's just too much hassle to write forms and you don't know at what place you should be, etc., etc., etc. All that government bureaucracy stuff with a digital identity can be made such a manner that you'll be able to have a portal app on your phone, for example, with the government, and you can just arrange things very quickly because all your data is already filled in, and you can just apply for whatever form you want at whatever time you want, and it makes it a lot easier. That's something everyone should be getting really excited about.
Where have you been reading this things today's takes? Could you
Well,
put something up in the?
yeah, I can pin what? I can pin
Yeah.
something. It's a threat from the Minister of Digitalization in the Netherlands. It's in Dutch, but you can translate the tweet, in which he says that she will talk next week with the government, with the parliament, and the week after that in Brussels. And in that Twitter thread, in that same thread that I'll pin, you'll see a few comments of mine listing to what the digital identity is, also with pictures of a hardware wallet, and also described completely from A to Z with the entire process and timeline in the past and in the future and all the people involved with it, and what the consequences are and what the good things of it are. So I put it all in one thread. I can pin it to the top and it has all the information you need.
Oh, that would be nice. Thank you. I'm not sure if Karma is there yet, but the fridge and Doggo, welcome up, guys. If you guys would like to speak about something.
Yeah, I got the tweet pinned, by the way. It's from Alexandra van Huffelen. It's in Dutch, but if you translate that, then you can read it. Sorry, I'll shut up now.
I'm looking at the Digibyte ID right now. I don't really have much to say about it. Just looking.
Guys, have you seen the DXY?
Yeah. Why? What's up?
Oh, it's amazing to me. And then the yield curves. Wow.
Yeah, it's going to get fucked, right?
Euro is not.
JP Morgan actually said that they determined that their end of the year of 4,300 is probably going to be 3,600 or 3,150.
Yeah, it's just interesting to see. I mean, it's been a while since we've had something like this happen, so it's kind of like reliving it all over again. Karma, I know Karma can remember, but the 08 thing was weird because I mean, I only saw it from the real estate side, and I was a spectator, like many people now who are passive investors in like the stock market, watching their 401k or IRA dry up and wondering why. And so now seeing it again, but from a different perspective, having a little bit more time in markets, it's very interesting to me, and I imagine for all of you.
Same here. I couldn't agree more with what you're saying. I think it's the first domino stone of a lot more reactions to it.
So my dad. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Carmen.
This is for what asset class? Bonds?
Well, so the yields are continuing to go up today. The DXY is continuing to go up. I forget what the other thing that I brought up was. The S&P Stake was talking about. They just revalued where their expectations are going to be for end of year on the S&P 500 from like 4,300 down to 3,600. And if you look at where it's at right now, it's not doing hot. So
and in the worst case scenario, 3,150.
Yeah, it's the lowest right now since June of 2020, which obviously we know what was happening then. But things are starting to roll over, but they're not really, really crashing yet. So it's an interesting thing.
Yeah, it's going slow but steady.
Well, the bond market to me is the thing that is the most. If I start seeing sudden movements in the bond market, then that's gonna get my attention. Let's put it that way. Because
that's already happening, Karma. Today, the news about the bonds market as well, that Japan has too much cash reserves or bought too much bonds from the US, and there's something there playing around, but I haven't seen any weird reaction to it yet, but there are some news articles about it that there is some overvaluing right there.
Well, and the interest rates, the market's pushing them up. The Fed's not playing as big a role in the market, like the open market FOMC open market committee, as they were. There's definitely signs things are moving in a quantitative tightening direction, I guess.
Could it be a crack up boom?
A what?
Let me put an article up.
Crack a boom? I don't know what that means. I think what they're doing is fine. I think it's probably good. Probably the right thing to do. But yeah, I mean, still, it's like a slow thing, not a fast thing.
Well, yeah, right now it's definitely slow, but we could have one of those speed up moments, and that I guess that's the thing that nobody wants. But it's always interesting to see how like downward pressure on a market, whether it's crypto, whether it's the bond market, whether it's stocks, real estate, anything. Like the longer you're in a downward, you have downward pressure, the more that these companies that seem like they're solid start folding.
Right.
Like
exactly.
that fund Compute North just folded today. There's like 500 million that's owed to
Exactly.
200 creditors in Bitcoin, and that's just the next domino in the series of dominoes.
Yeah. I pinned it a tweet to the top, Karma. It has reference to the ECB, but there's a link in there that you can read up on the term of it.
And all the meanwhile, XRP's had a good couple of days. Obviously, we retraced a little bit, and that's okay. But man, it's been good. Algo too, and I think XDC was up today.
There's a good amount of stuff in the market that's been pumping in.
Did you guys by chance see XDC's metaverse DApp? Was it like their test net? Just got released. Snippets got released today on Twitter, and they showed like what it looks like. It's pretty cool.
Who released it?
I will find that out for you right now. Hold on. I'll find it. All right, it's up top. It just looks like a like I don't know, like a really good version of like, you know, the graphics of like a Call of Duty, you know, at current standard. But you know, the one thing that really kind of motivates me about the metaverse, I don't spend all my time thinking about it, but you know, last Christmas I just tried Oculus for the first time, and I was blown away, like how cool it is. And I was like,
Yeah,
it scared the shit out of me because I'm like, dude, people are gonna literally just live in this thing like the whole
it's
time.
great, right? It's fucking awesome, right?
It's very cool, and it's very dude. So many people are gonna get addicted to that once they.
Yeah, man.
My daughter, I'm fighting my daughter to not get her one right now
Yeah,
because they're so
yeah.
cool.
It's going to get worse though, because this is nothing compared to what VR and AR will move towards. Like the patents for AR and VR, what the thing that you have on your head right now is like it's like the most absurd, shitty version of what AR VR will eventually be. And this is already so addictive. Like it's fucking nuts.
We're in the
All right, so I do.
stage,
Oh,
yeah.
sorry, Death. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say this is gonna sound really dumb. You guys can laugh at me, but they have this this like roller coaster game where you can like
Yeah.
ride a roller coaster and shoot
Yeah.
dinosaurs and
Did you
stuff.
fall
It's
over?
so freaking rad.
Did you fall over?
I did not fall over, but I might have smacked my hands against stuff in the room.
Yeah, I get that. VR gaming is fucking mad too, man. I got it on a PSVR and I will get the PSVR 2 as well. And it's just phenomenal. It's more outdated graphically than Oculus, but just the interaction with the games itself, it's just great.
So how far have they come now with the VR? Is there any cool games? Because I remember.
Oh
back in
yeah,
the days-
if you look at PS VR 2, like PlayStation VR 2 for gaming, the rest is just way behind. It's not just a graphical thing, but just the interaction between the movement and what the game has to offer. It's just on another level with what's out there. But graphically, Sony is moving up towards the rest. So this is a giant step forward compared to the tech that they used to have. But still, the angle, the degree that you can see, even with PSVR, is still only 110 degrees. And Oculus is just much better at that. So if you're going for graphics and like an experience or a movie, definitely go for an Oculus. But if you're going for like interaction and gaming, then the PlayStation VR is definitely the best out there.
Didn't they release the new Half-Life game in VR and nothing else after like 10, 12 years after Half-Life 2?
I thought there was talks about it. I don't know if it ever got released as a game, did it?
I don't know. A friend of mine was watching some YouTube videos from it. I didn't, but I was shocked myself. I thought it was a joke because people have like been waiting for 12 years to the new Half-Life game, and they'll just release a VR simulation to learn how to play VR. It looked crappy as fuck, so I hope they didn't release it.
Yeah,
Half-Life Alyx, is that the name?
once they can combine these virtual headsets with like a virtual world built in like an Unreal Engine 6 and have the GPU be able to run to produce that picture for you,
That's already possible. That's already possible. Like I've got a PlayStation 5 and it's already possible on Unreal Engine 5 to go for photorealistic graphics.
But Unreal Engine 6 is what I was talking about. The next iteration of Unreal Engine, which is only available for commercial use as of right now from the Unreal Engine team. But yeah, that next iteration I think is going to be what really bridges and brings people in from the outside world to this virtual reality. Because
There's an Unreal Engine 6? I thought 5 was the shit.
Yeah,
really?
Exactly. So Unreal Engine 6 right now is only for commercial use, but it's like their next iteration. And this iteration, it's going to be much more than just gaming stuff. They're going to do it for like medical field, building, synaptics in the brains and, everything you can imagine that you could do in a VR, building bridges and building structures and everything is going to be able to utilize in this Unreal Engine 6 format.
Dude, Death, you're a little bit younger, but you guys will get a kick out of this. I remember being I want to say like 14 or 15. So it was right around the turn of 2000, right? So like if you back then they had cyber labs around. This was like all the rage, and you could play like Counter-Strike, you could play Half-Life and stuff.
Yeah, the computer.
Yeah, it was so wild. And then to think about like that was only a short-lived thing. And like now we all connect, via networks at home. It's like, but that was such a big deal back then. It was like you just talking smack to some, a whole room of people in the room with you,
What game was that you was talking about?
It's pretty much Counter-Strike.
Yeah. Counter-Strike, I think, was from Half-Life, but it was so cool. It was like it's like an older version of Call of Duty, essentially.
Yeah, the oldest 1.6 or before that even 1.5 or what did they call it?
Yeah,
CS.
1.6. But then you had CS Source and then CS:GO. I still play Source sometimes.
But they did have a Counter-Strike before 1.6 also, I think.
I think it was started at 1.5 and then went to 1.6, and it was just an updated version or whatever.
Yeah, the old Half-Life games was nice. Half-Life Blue Shift and those games was cool.
Well, that game.
Old days.
Can you imagine if they create a VR version of Zelda? That would be I'm sorry, I'm nerding out right now. That would be super cool though.
Yes, one day.
Yeah, man. But then, have you seen the new trailer of the new Zelda that's coming out on the Switch? Tears of the Kingdom.
No, is it pretty good?
Last week, it came out last week. A new trailer of the new game. Oh man, yeah, check it. It's like it appears to me like it's created with full attention to flesh out all the details. Like they don't even go for a 9.9, they go for a full 10. Like every single sound and twinkling in the graphics, like everything is just every screenshot is like fucking perfect. Like every it's insane. It looks so good. For a Switch, it looks so good. Visually, yeah, I like Zelda games, but this really looks like it's going to be one above everything.
Well, heck yeah.
So what are you guys playing these days? Is there anyone that have tried the new Far Cry? Is it Far Cry 6? Is it released yet? Yeah, I guess so.
Sorry. Not my thing.
I love those games. Can't wait to try out.
I do like Halo though. That new Halo was pretty cool.
Halo was nice, yeah.
I play a lot of stupid games. Like I used to be big in RPGs and strategy games, but nowadays I just play a lot of stupid games. I just check all the indies, and I've played all the AAA games. Like I know what it is, and now I just play Race the Sun, or I play Fall Guys. Just games to have fun, and then just not too much of a 40 to 120 hour grind of things. Don't know about you guys, but that kind of wore me out over all the years.
So have you been a good StarCraft 2 player back in the days? That is then you have to
No, it was more turn-based. I've played Civilization and Crusader Kings. Were games that I was actually in the top 10 of the world with the strategy on score lines. Played a lot of text-based online games. Won a few rounds in that too, and then ran a few clans and alliances back in the day with hundreds of people. That's what I used to do for a very long time when I was in my teens. So I've been playing a fuckload of games my entire life. Like it's the one thing I've put in most of my hours.
Well, that's good. But yeah.
One thing that I did skip though was the entire rage with World of Warcraft. And I had friends of mine that were just completely fucking addicted to it, and I was like, no, man, I just need to finish school and my job, and not like there were
No,
thousands of hours in there.
You were talking about that the other day, I thought.
A friend of mine actually has a full year of playing time in World of Warcraft. I mean, that's just fucking absurd, isn't it?
Hours wise, you mean, like in a full hour?
Yeah, hours wise, in a full year, hours wise.
Let me see, how many hours are there in a year?
1 year in game. That's like it's like 1 year in game. Like what is it called?
Oh man, that's like 1,000 hours.
Yeah, it's a year basically.
And 8,760 hours.
Yeah, that's not my cup of tea.
It's fun though, but it destroys your whole life.
I think it's a difference between whether that's like healthy for your job and like school and stuff like that. I mean, especially when you're younger, right? And it's just
That's the problem. You can't have a job and you can't go to school if you play it.
yeah, that
Because-
was like the bottom line for me. I saw so many friends fucking that up when I was younger, totally addicted to gaming and things like that. And it's just I don't know about you guys, but that shit's been rampant for so long here. There was no pressure at all to get kids not game as much as they do right now. I think nowadays it's much more regulated, especially with little children. But there wasn't any debate back in my day about gaming and stuff. We would just spend hours and hours behind consoles. It's completely unhealthy, but was a lot of fun.
Steak's gonna have in like 3 months. He's gonna have 1,000 hours or whatever, a year's worth of hours in IOV. It's gonna be dope. We should have benchmarks like that.
Probably,
And
yeah.
Death and Karma can hand out like ribbons. It would be super cool.
Go fully for it. Yeah. Get my job in IOV, just be 24/7.
Yeah, I probably have as much time as he's spent in your friend spent in on World of Warcraft than I have hours dedicated.
Yeah,
to
when
stuff.
I talk to my old gamer friends about the metaverse, they're like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, I'm going full Matrix. Like, yeah, I'm going 24/7. I'm just gonna get a job in that metaverse and just try rock the shit out of it and just be in that motherfucker the entire time." It's like there's people hyping for it.
You could, yeah. I mean, there's people who did that in the video games themselves, like World of Warcraft, for instance.
Right. They are so good at it. They get items and they sell those items online. But it's just, oh man, I like to play a game to enjoy myself and not to make a living out of it. It's just too much of a grind. I guess that's the one thing that I really hate in games, when there's too much grinding. And it's like, yeah, fuck that. I'm gonna play something else.
So I think I might be the OG of gaming in this particular room. I started off, man,
Hell yeah.
with the old Commodore 64s, and we were playing ping pong at when we first started.
On the Atari as well, Costa?
Yeah, Atari and Commodore, the Commodore 64s. Like that's where I started.
Like Commander Keen, Ultima, stuff like that. You played all those games?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, fuck that, man. Yeah, I played those too. Fucking awesome.
Yeah, we've come a long
Really
way.
good games. Definitely. We came a long way.
Nintendo 64, yeah, a Commodore 64. I don't know if I ever heard that.
No, man. And you had B floppies back in the day as well, or those cassettes, for computers. That was just.
Yeah, they were programmed in basic coding language. So, like, we could do little things like make your name crawl across the screen in little crazy arrangements. And we thought that shit was cool as fuck.
Yeah, text-based games.
Yeah.
Dude, I used to think Oregon Trail was cool, man. Come on.
That's fucking awesome.
It is funny though if you look back even 20 years from where it was to where it is already. We already have.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine the next 20 years? I mean, can you imagine just the amount of speed in which it's It's so accelerating, in which it's improving. It's insane. Like just the last 10 years have been insane.
Yeah, 20 years you'll look back and then we're not going to be able to we're not going to be able to realize how that it was going to go that fast.
Yeah, I think a lot of people who socially engineer some of the stuff that they do work on intentionally kind of take those things into consideration. Because just listening to y'all talk earlier, like I find it amazing that people in this space were like, in their young teens and stuff during the time of like around 9/11. Like to me, it seems like kind of yesterday, and I remember it well. But to think that a lot of you were just young kids at the time of 9/11, it was definitely a different world. And so
Yeah, man.
some of y'all haven't seen the
Definitely,
world
Costa.
from the perspective of a pre 9/11 world.
Exactly. Costa, for me, I'm 37, and I at least this is from a Dutch perspective. I was raised by my mother when I came out of school, and I ate lunch at home, and then I went back to school, and then I went back home, and I played outside. But during the day, my mother was at home, and my father worked, and I had a parent raising me. Nowadays, especially the generation under me, they didn't have that luxury. They had to have two parents going to work, and they had to stay at school, or because they couldn't get home because there was no supervision. So they were raised by their peers instead of by their parents, and you just see a complete shift in psychology with the generation below me, and it's just such. And I get them, but it's such a difference. It's such a difference. I'm one of the last people that was raised by a parent, by a mother that was at home. Everyone else below me in age is usually it's just a different mindset. It's just wired differently.
Yeah, no doubt. Like I'll tell you another thing that's like really changed, and you'd be surprised at how it has like all the side effects to it. But like I remember being a kid, and you had to rush inside from playing just to see your favorite cartoon or your favorite show. Like it wasn't that you could kind of watch it on demand and all of this kind of stuff, right? Like we really would run in the house and say, "Oh man, the Cosby Show's on. I got to go. I'll be back later." Like just the whole way that we do everything is just changed based on how technology is changing our lives.
Yeah, man. Without the those were the 8 o'clock Simpsons and was it 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock Married with Children or fucking Fresh Prince throughout. I mean, dude, there were so many good shows.
Dude, you're listing all my fucking favorites back in the day, man. Like Al Bundy was just fucking phenomenal. But like Uncle Phil, Jesus fucking Christ, for those of you that missed Uncle Phil,
I'm slowly turning
fucking
into
phenomenal.
Uncle Phil. Yeah.
Oh man, we should all become
all
Uncle
of
Phil.
our lives.
We should all become Uncle Phil, man.
Yeah,
That guy was
R.I.P.
fucking awesome.
R.I.P. to Uncle Phil. Yeah, for sure.
Was Uncle Phil like Dr. Phil?
No.
No, man.
No.
No, man. No, man. Uncle Phil was the epitome of a dad.
Come on. Death, you've seen the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, dude.
Yeah, of course.
That guy was an example, man.
Yeah, it's wild. And Kasha, like to what you were saying, like the pre 9/11 thing, like, dude, I left when I was leaving the army. We were already starting to get kids joining the army that were born after 9/11, which like blew my mind. Like,
wow,
these people they were joining. And what's crazy is like Afghanistan, we were in Afghanistan way too long. I mean, and granted, you can still make the argument that like we still need to be there, whatever. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's wild that we were in a country for so long that literally the kids that were going to that country to fight didn't even know why they weren't around when to see why and understand the motivations. It's just, yeah, it's different. We got different generations now,
we're getting old.
Yeah, that would be a thing to witness. Like, what is your level? Not saying your level of commitment, because you're probably going to be committed nonetheless. But how do you resonate with like knowing the dynamics that cause you to have to get in that circumstance? With I see how that could be a big thing.
Can you imagine?
That's why I like these spaces, right? Because we're still bonding over the same thing, even though there is a generational difference.
Well, and it's crazy too, because there's so many young kids that I learned from in these spaces. Like, dude, like Quincy, right? And obviously everyone knows Quincy, but dude, that kid is so freaking smart. And I guarantee you, yes, he works his butt off. But like I guarantee you that guy is never going to have like a formal job where like, now, because he's built himself through the through this, budding technology. He now has set his own career without ever having to go to school. Now, granted, he probably takes coding classes and stuff like that, but like
that's fucking awesome.
Quincy will be very successful. I mean,
and he will be very different.
Yeah, it's totally different. It's like blockchain can totally, man, there's just so much possibility there. You can create your own business. You can create your future.
My son is 5 years old, and I'm teaching him math that's like way above his level already. Like he's 5 and he's already doing the tables and percentages and stuff like that, which is, and the rest of his class is learning how to count to 10 and maybe 100. He already goes over 1 billion. He already goes to 1 trillion. It's just funny as fuck. And I'm like, yeah, well, just if you got talent, if you got a knack for numbers, sure, just go with it. Because one thing that I'm positive about is the future for the next 15 to 20 years when he's done with school, we'll definitely have some sort of software. There will definitely be coding.
You said he's 5 and he can count to or he knows what 1 trillion is?
Yeah, and he can do the tables. He can do square roots.
Dude, get him a TI-83 right now.
What's that?
It's a Texas later. It's a graphing calculator. They use them a lot here in the States.
I never use a calculator. He has to do it by heart. We don't write anything down either.
That's probably better. That's actually, I almost say that's definitely better. But
they don't use them anymore that much though, Doggo, because now it's on your phone.
That's fair. I actually had to use, I had this business statistics class, and it was wild. Like the whole class was in Excel. It wasn't in anything else. Like there was no, like you had to learn Excel to, this whole nother level, which was crazy to me that like you could give a business statistics class straight through Excel. But I mean,
Excel is awesome, man.
Math is pretty interesting sometimes, because I saw today this Andrew 40, if you know who he is. He posted today on Twitter that, do you want $1 million today, or do you want 1 cent each day for 30 days? Multiply, and it's much more if you get 1 cent and multiply 2 next day and next day.
That comes from the chess. It's an old folklore in chess that a farmer wanted to marry the princess. So the king challenged the farmer to a game of chess, and if the farmer would win, he would get the hand of the princess, of his daughter. But if the king would win, then he would get a grain of rice starting with 1, and it would double for all the 64 squares on the board. So the king won, and he didn't have enough grain to pay him back.
Yeah, exactly. It's fun. I have heard that story also before stakes. But yeah, it's fascinating how fast it goes up.
I'll tell you what's interesting, man, and I've just kind of observed this, and I'll share this with y'all, like from my own family dynamics. And I'm sure that if it exists in my household, right, it probably exists in a few others throughout the world. But like my son's part of this young generation, right, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, okay, he's 20 years old. He works fairly normal little minimum job, right, but because he's not paying a whole lot of bills like the typical youngster in life. Like he's been able to amass almost 20,000 XRP. He hardly knows anything about Ripple or any of this stuff. Like he's the typical, person his age, right? But think of the opportunities that like these youth have that are in circumstances like him that can kind of like stack this stuff and play with it without the pressure that maybe some of us feel. And like, man, they're going to have big time opportunities, when as adoption grows, and they're only 20 now. Like, I think that's going to be a big cultural change that, we don't often kind of think about.
I agree, but I still think that you need to do your research to know what to do with everything.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll eventually catch up, right? Like, as much as I know, I've definitely tried to tell them, but like the typical youth, they kind of have their maturation curve the way that they do it, right? And so I'm sure he'll eventually kind of catch up as he matures, right? But it's just like I can think of myself when I was 20 years old, and what I'm saying is like those type of opportunities just simply did not exist for people like myself when I was 20 years old. Like, and so,
Oh man,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
can you
agree.
imagine? Can you imagine trying to call like Charles Schwab and opening up a not necessarily a retirement account, but like an investment account, and when you're 19 years old back in back in the day. I mean, like, dude, it's a very different time, and things are rapidly evolving. Well, to a point where, yeah, that's wild that he's. I guess it's a lot more younger people are aware of crypto right now, which is good. But does he act? So you said he doesn't actually like know a ton about the projects he's putting money into, or have you had that conversation with him at all?
Yeah, because again, I've actually kind of like, advocated crypto for, my family and, closer associates and stuff, right? So he's kind of heard some of the stuff, but I can just tell by, when your kid, your kid, right? And it's like, it's not his focus, right? Like he still focuses on video games and other stuff that the typical person of his age, does, right? So he's doing it for his own reasons or whatever, how he's doing it. But it just amazes me that, they even have that kind of privilege, as far as I'm concerned, to be able to even kind of do it, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, like, even, and this is not that far off, but like Robinhood, I mean, Robinhood was a big deal. I mean, especially for bringing new people into investing. And that's cool. I mean, and even before I mean, you could buy crypto, back in, 2010, 2013. Like, I wasn't an early Bitcoiner, so I don't know. But from my understanding, back in 12 and 13, you could buy Bitcoin, right? Like kids could do that. I don't know what the prices were back then, but they were probably low enough that a kid, working and wanting to could.
Well, if you were a kid, the only way you were getting it is if you knew somebody else who had it that would sell it to you. Other than that, you would still needed KYC because it was a credit card or a debit card.
Ah, okay. Thanks for filling me in.
Yeah, even back in the
I
day.
just think they're part of a silent, majority, minority. I don't know what the numbers are, but I just think they're a big part of the demographics that a lot of us never really see, right? Because their world is so different. They're buying the stuff and they're playing with it, but they're not interested in being on Twitter talking about it and being on YouTube talking about it. Like, that's a different kind of demographics, right? But these young people are definitely touching this stuff, man, and playing with it, but we're not seeing them because like they have a different lifestyle.
Yeah, but just to your point, man, it's super. I always tell anybody who has the ability to live at home and doesn't have any, associated costs with their living structure, like stay home, make as much money as you can, save, invest in the right places. You'll set yourself up. You'll never even have to work.
Yeah, that's so true. And people in their 20s, I was just talking to this kid yesterday at the bank, and he was wearing like a paving company vest. Like he works for a paving company. He's like a striper, anyways. So we were sitting there chit chatting, and I was like, how old are you, man? He's like, I'm 24, and he's going to school right now for computer sciences at the technical college here in town. And I was like, that's awesome, man. And he's also doing an HVAC program. So he's kind of like on the fence. And obviously I was pushing. I was like, dude, if you're in the computer sciences program, there's a ton that you can make a lot of money doing that. So, I mean, obviously he's kind of playing the field and seeing what he likes, but dude, it's wild to me. Like I remember in my early 20s, like my whole life was working and saving money. And like, I've been out of the house since I was like 16, 17 years old. So like I didn't have that opportunity like other people to, have living expenses and health insurance off the table where I could just save money. Like that's such a big advantage.
Yeah, I'll also say this, like, even if you do kind of like us, most of us, right, have responsibilities, like part of, and this is just my personal opinion at this point, right, but part of like winning at this whole kind of like crypto tool or crypto ecosystem for me is this like understanding, like there was a difference when I would go out and say, take a side job or do a little hustle to get extra money when you have that money kind of has a finite value. So you think of it as like, well, it's $100. They want me to come do it. I can live without $100. It's not a big deal. Sometimes you blow it off. Many times you blow it off, right? But I think since crypto kind of like resonated with me the way that it does, now sometimes even having access to more capital than I probably ever had, I'll still take those opportunities to say, yeah, man, I'll go ahead and do that little extra work for that $100, because now the $100 doesn't have that capped value that I used to perceive it to have, when I know I'm going to end up putting it somewhere that it may 10x, 20x, whatever, right? So I kind of encourage anybody that's listening to me say that, like, also think about that. Like, if you have an opportunity to kind of, spend a few hours doing some things to add some more capital that you can then put in the market with the potential, right? I'm not advocating speculation, but it is what it is at the end of the day, right? Like, yeah, just kind of like, it's worked well for me, and I just wanted to share that with y'all.
Hey, speaking of growing money, did you, Kasha, I don't know, or Death, and you guys see the XRP charts? All that selling pressure is now starting to turn over, and it's going back to the upside.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of speculation on what the causation behind all of this is, because we definitely witness it in the charts. But I think just overall, like, for that phenomenon and the market in the broader sense, with the dollar sitting where it's at, like, way beyond anything that has ever happened throughout this entire crypto experience. Like, really wrap your head around that. Like, the dollar's never been as strong as it is right now since crypto was born. Right. And you can look at the charts and see that there's a direct correlation between the strength of the dollar and how it affects the value of crypto. Right. So, like, when you put those two things together, even though we're down in some cases 60% from all-time highs, I think it is very impressive that we're even where we're at now, with the strength of the economy all over being weak, the dollar being so strong, and XRP amongst all of that is actually able to grow against not just the dollar, but a strong dollar. And I'm not sure I know how to interpret that, but it's something that I'm thinking about, during this whole kind of like recent run we're experiencing.
Yeah, blockchain backers video, I think it was yesterday at the end of the day, or no, it was this morning, I don't know, either way, he was talking about how typically, we've always had Friday selling pressure from like a major seller, and he was like, yep, and look, he's there, you go, like, he's active today right now, and this is his window of trading hours. He's like, as soon as the I'm sorry, I'm parroting something I saw on YouTube, but I actually respect blockchain backers. So, but like, he's like, watch, a couple more hours of this selling pressure. When he comes off, it'll be interesting to see what happens. And sure enough, those hours ended. And guess what? Starting to see a little bit of movement. I'm not saying that it's going to continue to go up, but it's looking favorable right now. So that's good. I'm happy that we're having any movement right now in a bear market. So.
Yeah, and I think this is the first time we've kind of witnessed increase in demand without the taco stand being in existence too, right? So, like, maybe some of that is even playing a part in how price discovery environment is just different than it has been, for years now, actually.
By the way, if there's anybody in the audience, though, that has any questions about anything that was talked about today, or has any comments or suggestions of things that they'd like to talk about, please feel free to hit the request, come up and speak with us. So far, it's been pretty fun, though, today. I like the conversations that we're having. I think they're very important. Sorry, go ahead, Steak.
No, nothing for me, man.
Oh, just look at you're unmuted for me. Sorry.
I know this is kind of a little off topic, but it's so wild to me that we're at a point now, after seeing, after being, considered degenerates, right? That, NFL players, or, NBA or FIFA or any of this pro sport, athletes, they're taking, portions of their pay in crypto. It's so cool to see that. Now, granted, like, I don't know if you guys saw Trevor Lawrence's thing, like, was like, yeah, he took his signing bonus in Bitcoin, and now it was worth this, and now it's worth this. It's like, dude, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if he just sits and holds on to it, it's going to be worth more.
There is a Thibault Verbiest, the lawyer from Freefold, the Web3 client under the European Union of the whole sovereign ID thing. He created a company called Payfoot, and they're actually working for the World Cup in Qatar to get all the players and all the clubs on their blockchain. They're predominantly moving from the French league, but they're already mostly predominantly French clubs already into it. Something interesting to follow as well, apart from the Algorand with FIFA stuff, and that's just football, of course, but it's a big sport here as well.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I don't know, Steak, if you're familiar, but we just had this past year legislation passed so that now athletes, even in college, can monetize their, their name, their, build their brand, whatever. So that was like a big deal for betting, right? Because obviously Vegas would still bet on everything, and guys would very, very successful college players, the NC2A would use their name and their likeness, their image, all that stuff to earn more money. And so now they're able to do that themselves, all at the same time when people are starting to wake up to crypto and being like, no, pay me in crypto, please. Or it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it kind of goes into like the whole identity thing, right? Like maybe you're a provider that wants to allow the gambling of a certain player, and so you just request the permission from that player and what information you're allowed to use.
Wouldn't that be crazy? Like next year's FIFA comes out and you want to play, Messi, and so you have to actually pay him for his NFT version of himself.
Yeah, it just goes automatically.
So crazy.
The royalties go directly to the player. It's the same with music. Like I saw someone making music through NFTs and just through blockchain. And normally if you get 1 million followers, you get like $12. And she actually got $49,000 off 1 million people listening to her music. So that was already enough for her to jumpstart her entire career. So it just takes a lot less resources for artists to just get at a higher level earlier. It's just all across the board, cutting out the middleman in sports and arts is just a blessing in disguise.
I can't wait till we have this function that we can pay bills and things like that in Zoom. That will be a game changer. I have some old cell phone bills I should have been paid off.
Yeah, Wolf, I should go down. I live in Alabama, dude. So we're a little behind the times, man. And I was laughing as you were saying that because I'm like, man, I should go down to pay my water bill and ask them what their XRPL address is and see if they could take that. Maybe someday. Probably 50 years from now because we're so backwards down here.
Yeah, because that's the only thing we miss, actually. Once you can start to pay bills and things like that straight from the Zoom, then people will really start to wake up to see what this technology really have to offer.
And I swear most people won't even realize that they're using it. They'll just know that they signed a contract that says when you give us your data whenever we use your information for some sort of game or whatever NFT, you get a royalty payment. That's all they're going to care about. That's all most people will care about. It's how am I making money from it? How am I making profit?
Yeah, it's wild. If you I don't know if it's Roblox. I think it's Roblox right now. They have, and I don't know if these are connected. Shellfish might know this because I think she has a kid that plays Roblox as well. But there's a game on Roblox where it's like something Doge, and I asked my daughter to pull it up so I could look at it. But it was like, it seems like you're like earning Dogecoin as you're playing this game on Roblox, which is wild because my daughter's, most little kids right now are spending a ton of time on Roblox and Minecraft and stuff like that. But I think you're right, Death. It's like seamless technology is behind the scenes and is the background infrastructure that they won't even know what the hell they're using, but it just works better, faster, smoother, has cooler graphics, whatever, and they're getting like rewards or however that pans out. But yeah.
Yeah, and I'd be worried for that on the Roblox game, because Roblox has their own currency called Roblox coins or whatever, and that is the only currency that they want on their game. So if there is something else that's being traded in some map, because you can make your own Roblox maps, just a matter of time before it gets shut down. Same thing with the whole Microsoft thing with their NFTs. They had to shut Zerpcraft down.
Ah, that's what it was. I had heard about Zerpcraft. I just never really understood, because my daughter was too young at that point to where she was using Minecraft, but she wasn't like really good at it or very involved. So, but I kept hearing this term in these spaces, and I'm like, what the hell is all that about? So that makes sense.
Yeah, it was a Minecraft one, not Roblox, but Microsoft banned anything incorporating NFTs into any games.
It's like Jamie Dimon saying that anyone that works for him buying Bitcoin will get fired. By the way, actually, you were talking about digital ID. Did you guys see the bankers when they were getting asked? Like one big part of their conversation in front of Congress was about digital identity, and the bankers were trying to say, like, oh well, right now we already have that. It's like, yeah, but Congress is asking you because there is a better future version. And I don't know. It just seemed like they were kind of running around circles trying to avoid it. But I don't know if you guys saw that. It was a pretty interesting part of the conversation.
Can you show me a link to a source of that? Is that possible? I'd love to see
actually,
it.
let me find the clip and I'll post it in the Megatron so anyone wants to look at it.
Because I pinned a tweet on the top as well. I don't know if you were in the room when I talked about it at the start of this conversation about digital identity. It started today in the Netherlands, the operational side of it. And I've been calling it out for 10 months, like in December 2021, that they would launch it in September this year. And they did. And they launched a prototype, and it's actually going to be discussed by the Minister of Digitalization in the government next week. And after that, she's going to Brussels to discuss it for the European Union. And in the second tweet that I pinned, she's announcing that in Dutch. You can translate the tweet. But I posted 9 comments under that tweet of hers with all sorts and various topics and know-how about the European digital identity, the MiCA compliant one, because I think we're going to see something similar in the US at some point, but also in South America and in the Middle East. So it might be something cool to look through if you want to read up on it.
Yeah, I know the portion that I saw that was a clip was a senator asking the head of Wells Fargo. I don't know the head of Wells Fargo's name. Moynihan, something Moynihan. Anyways, he was elaborating on it, and then I think they chimed in with Jamie Dimon, and he just didn't say anything. He just agreed with what the Wells Fargo guy said. But yeah, let me look for it. So how long does this integration take for the Netherlands?
Integration from what to what?
Well, it's now fully operational, like it's online. This is now your new standard in the Netherlands?
Oh, good question. No, apparently it can go live now. So it's out of prototype phase. It has yet to be rolled out, to speak in IT terms. And I believe that it can go very quickly because it will probably go through an update of your commercial banking app. And I think that could go once they start and probably do it through all the banks and get that ready first through their service. Then there is a timeline somewhere in the tweets that I posted under that thread. I think it's going to be 2024, most probably, that it will be fully operational and everyone will be on board. Everyone. Like literally everyone. And that the onboarding itself will probably go overnight, within a week. It's something that you do when you update your banking app, and that's that. You get a KYC and you link it to your to your chip in your passport with your mobile, and you're done.
Yeah,
I'm most.
have
Oh,
the
sorry.
security KYC.
I'm most excited to see how much of the banks that are going to survive at all. Some say that every bank will survive, but I don't know. Can see a lot of banks fail as well. What are you guys' thoughts about that?
I think Walmart becomes the bank.
Yeah, it could be.
I think banks are very notorious for surviving. So in some shape or form, they'll probably still exist, I guess. Just a lot smaller.
Yeah, because a lot of banks don't have too much gold per se in their holdings right now. So when a crash comes and they don't have any real value to back it up with, it will be fun to see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Death. I mean, the way that things are moving, I would almost say that Amazon is going to probably start it soon as well.
Amazon was chosen to do the digital euro this week or last week, end of last week. So they are the winners to create the digital euro.
I do have a feeling that that at the end of this, everything, where there's many different players right now, they're going to get consolidated, and power is going to be, either under big commercial banks or somehow this is going to get realigned.
They call it a public-private cooperation, but yeah.
Hey, Stakes, is there still summer in the Netherlands?
Nah, more like autumn.
I have since we are this goes for everyone, but since you especially are so glad in steaks, I have this recipe for the best barbecue sauce that is ever invented. So I see the steaks in your staking pan there. It looks amazing, but a little bit of that barbecue sauce, and you would never eat the steak without it again, I guess.
Okay. I'm not much of a barbecue sauce kind of guy, but I'll give it a try.
Oh man, steak! If you don't like barbecue sauce, man, we got to bring you down here. You probably have some. You'll have some barbecue that you never even knew was in existence, man. It's some good
I
stuff.
know I'm really into cooking, and I like cooking shows as well. And I've seen it on the television in multiple cooking programs, just at different states, all barbecue in a different way as well, with a different sauce and just the 24-hour roast spits. I know it's a very big cultural thing. So yeah, I can't wait to try out real American barbecue, man. But I'm probably gonna try it out in various states, to be very honest. I don't want to stick to one state. I want to kind of make up my mind.
I would definitely start in Texas though, if if you're gonna do that, because
I don't
Texas
know,
has
man. I heard
amazing.
I heard some pretty good stories about barbecue in other states as well. So I don't know where I'm gonna start, but I'll definitely visit multiple.
I'd say Texas also would start. Yeah.
They have there's a chain in Texas called what is it? Fucking um, salt. What is it? Salt water? Not salt water. I don't know. It's Teth. Maybe you know it. It's like it's around the Dallas area. They have a few of them. Literally the best steak I've ever eaten in my life. It was amazing.
No,
But it's like salt water or
I've
salt.
never been to Texas.
You've never been to Texas?
No, not yet. One day though.
Oh man, it's cool. It's cool.
So if I go to Texas, where do I go? Like Austin or somewhere else?
Well, Austin's definitely weird, but it would probably be very cool for you culturally to visit Austin.
Right.
San Antonio is cool from an American history perspective.
Cool.
Dallas is just like another big city, but
I have restaurants that I follow specifically. I don't know, I'll look them up and I'd send you the cities or whatever.
Yeah, I'd love to try some barbecue there someday.
oh, it's saltgrass, by the way. So if you see a saltgrass, you got to stop and get a steak.
Cool.
Since you're steak, you love it.
Thanks, man.
So,
Yeah.
so it's Texas that have the status as the best barbecue state in the United States.
They claim a lot. Texas, they're people in Texas, Texas is an awesome state, first and foremost. All right. It's very cool. But everyone from Texas always says their stuff's the best. Granted, Steak's point, which is that there's many other places that have really good barbecue and just other food in general. He's not wrong at all in that. He's very right. But there's a very big difference. Like Texas and Oklahoma have a different style of barbecue than like North Carolina. North Carolina specifically uses more of a vinegar, mustardy type base as opposed to like a molasses base. So it's very, very different food that you're getting. So.
Yeah, vinegar cuts through the fat, right? But like the barbecue is more sweet, I guess, the barbecue sauce, if the molasses is in there. So
Yes.
it's more like a sweet and sour thing.
Yes, and then the North
So
Carolina
where's the chili?
Tangier.
Where's the heat? Who brings the
So
heat?
you go to where Karma's going in a month or two, was in November, I think. Louisiana, right? You want and go to get some like spicy gumbo if you really want some nice heat, or some good or some
So
good.
I have to go south then.
Crawfish. Yeah, south. Yeah. Or places like New Mexico. I mean, I'm sure you could find spicy stuff in Texas too, right? But it's known for really like smoked meat.
So like Tex-Mex, is that like something you definitely want to try out, or is it something to avoid?
Well, say I live in New York, right, and so I get a combination of everything from everywhere. So, but yeah, Tex-Mex, I guess is yeah, that's good.
Most people in the States, especially like Hispanic Americans, they laugh at Tex-Mex because like authentic Mexican food. There's a ton of great authentic Mexican food, no matter what state you live in.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, aside from the American food, like you definitely got to get some good Mexican food, man.
I know, man. I I know, but yeah, one thing at a time, right? I mean, just the barbecues and the briskets alone would be fucking awesome, and all the steaks. But
And
yeah,
so why are the meats better over there? Well, it's probably because the water humidity and the way that the wood is probably a lot drier, so it smokes a lot different than
really?
other woods. But yeah, because the climate itself is very different. That's why, like New York, right? We have, I would say, best pizza, right? Is really because there's something in the water with the way that the dough reacts with the humidity, and so
So that's why I had such a great Italian pizza in New York. That explains a lot.
yeah, and so like you could use the same ingredients somewhere else, and it really doesn't taste the same. I've actually tested it out, and so but with that being said, that's why you got all these little specialties all over the place, all over the world. Honestly, that's why there's different things.
I don't know if Karma can actually talk right now because he might be busy working or whatever. But
I'm
dude,
here.
have you been to Louisiana before, especially like New Orleans?
No, I'm excited, and I'm really excited for the food.
Dude, crawfish etouffee, man, you have to try it. And just like Death was talking about, some jambalaya, man. Crawfish etouffee, though, and then fried gator. Fried gator's like an appetizer. It's actually really good. You'd like it.
I've had the gator. I'm not a big fan.
Yeah,
But
I told you people eat the gator, Karma.
Yeah, I'm one of those weirdos. It's actually pretty good. I mean, but
I've had it a few times.
The it's tough. You have to beat the shit out of it. But yeah, I'm really excited. And there's a guy that is from New Orleans. He grew up there, and I was telling him I'm going to go out there, and he's given me the whole freaking. I think he's more excited than I am.
Dude, beignets, and you got. I'm telling you, crawfish etouffee. Just because the French, the whole Cajun, like they do crawfish so well down there, and yeah, I'm excited for you, man. It's gonna be good. It changed. I've always been a picky eater. I went to New Orleans like a year and a half ago for the first time, and all I did was like, hey, I've heard this is really good. I want every type of food that's specific to New Orleans. Like, let me order that. And so, blew me away, man. So good.
Well, I'm excited. It should be good. I'm gonna go out there a day or so early, and so I won't just be at the conference the whole time. I'm excited. I love Cajun food and all this stuff.
I will prepare you. New Orleans is a very weird town, at least around the French district or French Quarter, whatever. It's very weird. So as long as you're, understanding what you're walking into, you'll have a really good time. Otherwise, you'll be shocked. But it's a fun place to be. So
I think it's just a different version of like the town I live in. A little bigger, not quite as old, but there's so many freaking weirdos around here.
Oh, Blind Dave, what up, buddy?
Hey, what's good, man? I'm born and raised in New Orleans. I'm still here at the moment. I'm in the middle of pulling drywall and insulation at the moment, trying to get
How you
rental
doing, buddy?
property set up to be an Airbnb. But what conference is coming here to New Orleans?
The Interledger Protocol conference.
Really? When is that?
I think in November. What day was it again, Karma?
Oh, Dave, you should definitely go there, man.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because I'm just,
It's November 12th and 13th.
Oh, that's awesome.
There's a thing on the 11th, I think. It's kind of like Apex is what it seems like they're doing. So on the 11th in the evening, there's like a, I don't know, registration check-in, whatever, something. Then you've got the 12th and the 13th, and that's it.
And where is that held? What's the location?
1 second, let me tell
Or
you.
if you could just DM it to me, that would be awesome.
It's at the New Orleans Marriott Warehouse Arts District.
Okay.
859 Convention Center Boulevard.
I got you. That's near Chapatoulas. Okay.
Can you make that, Dave?
Absolutely, I can.
So Dave,
Cool.
what other food should Karma try besides crawfish etouffee and beignets and stuff?
Well, the beignets and coffee in the morning, I would say, like on a Sunday after you spent Friday and Saturday night partying down in the French Quarter, and watching the Mississippi River, down like around Jackson Brewery and Jackson Square. Other real good restaurants. Well, you see, my family used to own Don's Seafood here, wholesale. So, and before that, we owned New Orleans Ice before refrigeration. So we went from the ice business into the seafood business. And so that's how we know all the restaurants here, like the bigwigs. Commander's Palace is really, really good, but overly expensive. Same thing with On Odds. It's another really good, expensive restaurant. But locally, I would say the best for the buck would be Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon. That's my favorite here. So awesome gumbo.
This is the best advice you can get when you travel somewhere. I just want to give you a shout out. You should definitely DM Karma with this info too.
But yeah, I was born and raised here. So I mean, after Hurricane Katrina, I lived in Colorado for 3 years. But yeah, it's totally different. The Mexican food, it's hit and miss here. You have to be really selective. Tex-Mex, I'm not a fan. But the Mexican food, if you go to a real good place like Carrabba's, is a really good Mexican restaurant here. Italian, I would recommend Mr. Ed's. What's another real good? Salvatore's is another real good Italian restaurant. Huge Italian influence here. If you're down near the French Quarter, the oyster, what was that? It's some huge oyster bar, but they have so much other stuff. Also, the Bonefish Grill is another real good one. They have the best. Oh, in addition to the crawfish etouffee, you must try a real good crab meat au gratin. That is like gold. So get crab meat au gratin and crawfish etouffee, and you're good. You're good.
This is awesome, man. Thanks for doing this. I could listen to you for hours talking about food, but it makes me hungry.
Yeah, unfortunately. But I definitely look forward to trying it all one day. But Karma, yeah, sounds like you're gonna have some fun.
Oh, I'm gonna eat all kinds of stuff. I didn't know there was an Italian influence there in New Orleans.
It's huge. Italian here is huge. I mean, that's like I went up to New Jersey and I had no idea what in the hell I was, here we call it something different. It's like a Sicilian salad is what it's referred to up there. But I was quickly corrected by, I had no idea what the hell it stood for. Here in New Orleans, we call it a wop salad. And it's got everything in it, but WAP I did not realize stood for without papers. I had no idea that I was even saying that. So they were like, who's your friend? They were like, you're cool, but your friend's got to go, and it's like, well, whoa, what do you mean?
That's funny.
Wow, yeah.
Dude, Death, if you live in New York, you've been to Little Italy, right?
Oh yeah, of course, many times.
Have you been to La Mela?
I don't know if that's the place's name, but if you're trying to name is that the first pizza place that's ever established in, what was it, like 1944 or whatever it was?
I don't know, dude. I went there when I was a kid with my family, and it was wild, dude. It's like, you're shoulder to shoulder with everyone in the whole restaurant as you're seated.
Yeah,
but they have a giant dildo that's all lit up with like Christmas lights. and when, I don't know if it's like someone gives a really good tip or something, but they come out and they sing a song and they pull on this string and the light up dildo just like flaps against the roof. It's so funny. Oh my God.
No, definitely. I've never been to that place.
During dinner, where the fuck do you go, man?
It was a very weird experience, but man, definitely the food was amazing there. So I don't want to throw you off if you ever walk into a place and they have a giant dildo hanging from the ceiling.
But there are some really good pizza places and Italian places in Little Italy.
The only thing here is the Italian, like the marinara sauces, they throw my blood sugar out of whack big time. So, but like my favorite Italian here is, I would say, well, it would be like a busciolone with red gravy over, and it's not like just Prego. It's like really cooked down for hours, like many, many hours, over like a baked macaroni and cheese. But it's like kind of rare here to even get. But they have some different. My grandmother used to make it really well. It's called busciolone, but it's like a round steak with egg wrapped up inside of it, tied with string, and the red gravy is just super, super awesome. Rocky and Carlos, which is in Chalmette, is like the best Italian around here, other than Salvatore's, which is really, really good. So, but
I'm getting hungry of all this Tex-Mex and Italian food. Speak. What is the most popular food in America? By the way, is it Mexican food or Italian food?
The popular food in America? I don't know. I'm gonna go on the limb and say it's probably like burgers or hot dogs or something. I'm gonna look it up.
McDonald's and things like that. But I mean, food from the outer space, outer places.
I would think it'd be some kind of chicken. I mean, it's like chickens. I think there's a gazillion different.
The number one most popular food in America is hamburgers. I had a feeling.
Dude, Wolf, I don't know if you live in the Netherlands or where in Europe. You sound like you have a European accent, but in America, we don't even have good French fries. Like French fries taste 10 million times better in Europe. I don't know what it is.
Do you want the secret? I can tell you. There's something you Americans don't do to it, which you always fuck up.
What is it?
You don't wash them. When you cut the potato and you slice up the fries, you wash them and you soak them in water. And all of the white starch gets out. You need to wash it until the water is crystal clear, so all the starch is out. You dry them. You fry them twice. First, you fry them on 150 or 145 to 156 degrees. You take them out. You let them come back to room temperature. You also put them on a piece of paper or a cloth so the oil goes out, drains out. Then you refry them again at 180, 185, and you get them super crispy on the outside. And then they're golden and super crispy. And you have French fries, and the inside is still like a soft, weak potato. So there's still a filling in it. After you've done that, you take them out, you put them on a piece of paper or a cloth, you let them completely dry up that there's no glossy oil layer on it anymore, no drips. That's when you salt them, you toss them over, salt them twice again. Maybe if you want to go fancy, you could put in garlic or a herb, but I just like them like that, and you're done.
Why are you doing this to me right now, Sake?
See, this sounds amazing.
That's French fries.
Yeah, that's French fries. That's some good French fries right there. Made me hungry.
Oh, another good thing for you when you come to New Orleans is really, really excellent is oysters Rockefeller, as well as like for dessert, bananas Foster's. Try that. Really, really good.
I'm gonna probably definitely get some crawfish or something because you don't get a lot of that around here. I mean, you can get it, but
yeah, you have to be selective with crawfish. Like some places, they just do it too peppery. They put too much pepper in it. We only cook with enough pepper for flavor, not to burn your lips off. You know, and whatever you do, don't rub your eyes. So,
well, I like spicy, but oysters, like, dude, I get oysters all the time here. Like, I grew up oystering. I don't know how many times I've eaten so many oysters. Crawfish, you don't get around here. If you get crawfish around where I'm at in Florida, they're frozen, right? Like they're almost never live.
Yeah, from China.
So you get some good fresh crawfish. I'm probably definitely going to get some of that.
Yeah, I can't wait to get the Airbnb up and running. Hopefully by January for Mardi Gras and Jazz Fest and all. But I also have all the stuff to do huge crawfish boils. I've got everything you can think of. So huge pots, huge containers that drain everything out. So, and you just throw everything in it from corn to mushroom to onions to garlic to potatoes to even throw shark meat in it. So, I mean, you just throw everything in it and then put your crab boil in it and let it boil for a good little while. I mean, it's more of an art to it because if you get some, the other thing is with crawfish, don't ever try to put it back into water and reheat it in such a way. Once crawfish cools off, just put it in a refrigerator and put it inside of a paper bag, and that paper bag inside of a plastic bag. Do not do it the opposite way. The crawfish will spoil. But also barbecue shrimp is a real good thing here as well. It has no barbecue sauce on it. It's just called barbecue shrimp. So that's really good. But you probably get that in Florida too.
Well, all right. I'm about to share this up top here. This was the last time I did a thing.
I was just had some food before the spaces, but I'm hungry as fuck again after all this food talk. So.
Yeah. That looks amazing. Jeez.
Yeah,
that looks great. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's like a gigantic. I've got a big tub that you can cook everything in. There's everything in there: seafood, corn, crab, mussels, crawfish, all sorts of. I don't even remember everything we put in there. potatoes. I don't know.
Yeah,
Crawfish.
The best from every world. There we have it, Karma. Is that from your table?
Yeah, that's out in the backyard.
Sweet. Is it you that have laid it there?
What's that?
Is it you that have prepped the table?
What?
Did you put all the good food on the table? Was it you that preparated it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I got a big pot we can cook everything in, and it was a buddy of mine. He was heading out of town, so he was like one of the only guys around here that actually knew anything about crypto, and he's he left, so we threw a big party for him, and see you later, have fun, good luck, that kind of thing.
But you didn't fish all that. That can I. You didn't fish it.
What's that?
I don't know. Is there anywhere to fish or catch crawfish in Florida? I don't think so. Right?
Yeah. No.
The blue shells or the blue shells from local in Florida? Do you have those there?
Blue crabs, yes. Blue crabs are very prevalent. You can get
Blue crab. Yeah, I mean the shells. In Norway, we call them blue shells. The oysters.
I don't know. We have plenty of oysters. Our oysters are actually, I think they're better than most oysters. Because they're really salty.
Yeah, but what do you call those blue shells on the tablet? Is that blue crabs or a blue shell?
Well, there's blue crabs, but that's a crab.
I think he means the mussels.
Yeah, the mussels.
Oh, mussels? Yeah, those we just got them at the store.
Nice. So, because we have a lot of them in Norway, I was just wondering if those are growing naturally in Florida as well.
There are mussels. They'll grow like on the pier and like on pilings and stuff, but not really. I mean, it's oysters and crabs. There's clams you can dig up. The bigger clams, not little ones. And if you go down to South Florida, there's lobster, but they're not like Maine lobster. They're like Florida lobster. They don't have
Hey
claws.
everyone, I'm gonna go off in a bit. Thank you everyone. Talk to you guys later.
Yeah, same here. I got to go to
Sake.
my daughter's soccer practice steak. It was good talking to you guys, and obviously it's always good to be up in IOV. So I'll see you guys later.
Thank you very much for joining us, guys. And Kamikaze, welcome up, man. You came up. I know you haven't spoken yet.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah. Hope everyone's good. I can't contribute to this conversation because I don't eat any shellfish. I don't eat any meat, so I'm a plant-based guy.
It's okay. You could change the subject if you want. If there's something you'd like to talk about, I'm sending invites out to people. It's cool if you guys can't come up, but if there's anybody in the audience that has any questions or anything they'd like to talk about, please feel free to come up.
Yeah, it's probably best for you to get back to something crypto related.
Yes, sir.
Although I really do like food, but yeah, it's not the topic of conversation here.
Yeah, but you can start buying food now a bit more. No more ramen noodles with XRP starting to move the way it is right now. It's not much, but you can buy something.
I like ramen noodles. What's wrong with ramen noodles?
Well, as long as you're buying like homemade ramen noodles, you're good. Not
stuff in there.
Not that stuff in the package. You can give yourself cancer.
Yeah, you mix a bunch of extra stuff in there and you dress it up, and I don't know. I look at ramen noodles as like a base. Like, just you start with the ramen noodles, and then you put some sort of meats and vegetables, and I don't usually, but you can put like egg and things in them. You can make a good ramen noodle for sure.
Do
Yeah.
you cook the
I,
noodles in the rum, Karma? Do you cook everything in rum or like drink it by the side?
nah. Ramen noodles is a type of you can call it a pasta. I don't know if you can call it pasta, but no, he's not talking about rum as in the drink though. We're talking about like the Chinese or Asian noodles, I guess. Um, yeah, it's it's like the 2 minute noodles, if I may say that. So it's yeah, you can use that as a base. I also like to add my own stuff onto that because it is plain. Just put in whatever's in that packet or in the sachet into your noodles and eating it like that. It's so boring. So yeah, adding more to it is way better.
By the way, Kamikaze, how does the testing goes for Sonamus? Is everything cool?
Oh, yeah. Currently I'm still working right now. But yeah, everything's going well. Just made a breakthrough with something, so yeah, we getting close. But yeah, thanks for asking. Yeah, there's quite a lot, like I said, that we are going to announce real soon. So yeah, you guys should be on the lookout for that. And yeah, speaking on Sona Muse, like if there are any artists here, like we are having, our artist submissions. So we will be having artists on ramping before we do our public launch. And yeah, there's like I said, there's quite a lot of announcements we just keeping behind us until the right time. So yeah, there's a lot of major updates that we have.
Awesome, man. Thank you very much for coming up, and
Yeah.
I look forward. I especially if if there are any artists in the audience, definitely reach out. I like what you've done so.
Yeah, appreciate it. You know what? Like we will be on ramping like podcasts and stuff like that soon. And that's why I kind of reached out to Karma because I really like your guys's spaces, and the whole concept of ledger scale. So having something like that on a platform solely built on the XRP legend, you guys kind of benefiting from the information you're providing, and having an audience paying out to stream your stuff would be pretty cool.
Yeah, there was an artist I think that was with your platform the other day that we listened to that was I really enjoyed. It was like a electrical symphony.
Oh yeah, that was Joe. Yeah,
Yeah.
Joe was pretty cool, and he's one of my favorites too. Cause like, I've been interested in like music scoring, and I would have wanted to make something like that at some point. I still do want to make some symphonic stuff. But yeah, his music is quite vivid. You can actually imagine what is happening right there and then. So yeah, I do look forward to experiencing more of the XRP community and the different sounds on the platform.
Well, I definitely look forward to it. I mean, if nobody else wants to talk, if you'd like to, Kamikaze, go into how you guys are using the Interledger protocol to enable artists to get these micropayments, I mean, you're more than welcome to.
Sure. So the way it works on the streaming platform side, because we have two sides to the Sonar Muse platform, which is the NFT aspect, which is the NFT music store. And we, we're waiting on XLS20. We have everything set up. We have all the functionality ready, but we just waiting for XLS20. We will be having our artists test it out on the test net real soon, once we release the next updates on the website. But with regards to the streaming platform side, we are using the Interledger protocol, and we with the Interledger protocol, we are also using Coil. So the users or the listeners would have to have a Coil subscription in order to access the streaming platform. So the artists get paid in real time for every time their song is being streamed. So any artist who is involved in the song, or anybody who is credited in the song, because uh we have place where you can select who will be getting paid out for the song. So in real time, every artist who is part of the song will be getting paid out in real time. So yeah, we use the Interledger payment pointers, and we switch in between for like how much they are supposed to receive based on the weight they're given. So a certain percentage they're given for the song. And yeah, so for every time the song is played, a person is getting paid their their payment point is being picked a certain amount of times when the song is being played. So that's how it works. So it interchanges. So everybody who's involved in the song gets paid out fairly. And yeah, the Interledger payment pointers as well, we use that for their profiles as well. So when someone visits an artist page and just views their content, they're getting paid out also in real time. So currently, with Interledger, it is possible to get paid in different currencies, but not at the moment. They haven't enabled that yet. So at the moment, you're only getting paid in XRP. But soon enough, the artist will have the choice to decide which currency or which token they would want to receive their micropayments in. So with Coil as well, because people do wonder how Coil works and how the subscription works. So with Coil, there's a $5 subscription fee. So with that $5, you can access multiple platforms that use the Interledger protocol, and that $5 will last you the whole month. It doesn't get depleted, so you'll be able to access as much content as you want without having your $5 getting depleted. So with Sonar Muse, we're basically allowing the users or the listeners to pay what they can for the music on the platform, as long as they're paying out the artists, because that's the whole point of the platform, to uplift artists and create value for their music and for their content. So we're aiming to bring the internet of value to the music industry overall.
Man, that was an awesome breakdown of how you guys are using the ILP, and I think that this use case is truly just the beginning. Like and you're like a pioneer and almost in this space at this moment, because this is, for any business, this could be a possibility. And
Death, it was making me think maybe we should try and get a couple of different people together, like from different projects, and just on like a Wednesday focus chat and discuss maybe like payment pointers and some interledger protocol stuff.
Yeah.
Just to see how different projects are using the technology, and because I mean there is plenty. Like it's not just Coil.
Yeah. I'm really interested in how Finboss is using interledger protocol. They're one of the biggest.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I could ping Adrian and see if we can get them to come in. That would be cool. He's a smart guy.
Yeah, shout out to Adrian. He seems like a pretty cool guy. I did manage to speak to him once during the interledger call community call. So yeah, hearing about Finboss and what they're doing is going to be interesting, because we do intend on using their technology once we have our platform up and running, so that users can just pay for whatever content they feel like paying for, instead of just everything that's on the platform, whatever they're accessing. So they'll be able to pay with their directly from their wallets, and it will go through to their interledger payment pointer and then pay out from there. Unlike using Coil, where the $5 is already in your account, basically just an account that's basically topped up, and then yeah, you're just using that instead of just pay as you go. It's not like a pay as you go thing.
Yeah, I think Finboss is doing more of like a ILP connector type of situation.
Yeah.
But the trouble there, or the really difficult thing is like, dude, now you got to have like regulatory compliance in all of these jurisdictions. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, they have the help of Coil right now, so they're part of Coil, so they'll easily get clarity as soon as everything is sorted. I guess so. Yeah, they're in good hands, I believe.
Oh, I mean all the people that are part of the company, like it's an A list of characters. But still, that doesn't mean the job they're taking on isn't a difficult job. Like, I think it's pretty daunting challenge.
Definitely is. Yeah, and they're open source, so yeah, they're basically allowing people to use their technology as freely as they want. I'm looking forward to seeing how it works, and I would want to see how Rafiki works as well, and what they do, because I've heard about them, but like I I don't really know much about Rafiki like that. But yeah, I would be keen to know what their use case is.
Well, I think Rafiki is basically like connector software, right? Like, so say your business has a need to function as a connector, like an ILP, interledger protocol connector. Rafiki is like a off the shelf software you can use. And
So I'm assuming it's like an XRP wallet, but for Interledger, in a sense.
No. It's like, okay, so like with Interledger, there is no ledger, right? Like so, in order to connect two ledgers, you've got the role of a connector, and the Rafiki software is helps somebody who's playing that role of connector, like a Finbos or a coil, helps them perform the functions that are necessary to play that role in the system.
Okay. Yeah. I get it now. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm really keen to see all these projects because Interledger's something I'm more interested in though. I really enjoy, playing around with their technology and seeing what I can do with it. Um, so yeah, like I said, there is a lot of announcements that will be coming about with Sonar Muse. So we definitely are, yeah, working a lot, but we haven't made a lot of updates to the public yet. So yeah, we're looking forward to seeing what Interledger comes up with and what they have in store as well.
Well, I think it's going to start going. I think the growth is going to start. The speed of growth or pace of growth is going to start increasing. For a couple of reasons. Oh shoot, what was I going to say? Oh, if you want to, you can come on one time with ledgerscale, and you guys get everything live and ready, and we can talk about it and everything. And then
100%.
I talked about Rafiki, but I forget.
I can't help but thinking of the Lion King. Sorry.
Yeah.
The 2009 version made me shed a couple tears.
It was terrible. I had a neighbor. He was a professor, and he was a nice guy. But his name was Mustafa. Well, I think for 2 years I called him Mustafa, like the Lion King. And finally he was like, "Hey, just so you know, my name's not like the Lion King." I was like, "Dude, you could have told me a couple of years ago. Like, I didn't mean to be calling you the wrong name."
You know what's crazy about that? My direct neighbor that lives directly in front of me, I've been here for about at least 20 years now, since September 11th for sure. And he calls me Danny, and he's been calling me Danny for the last 20 years. And it's crazy because I have a really good relationship with him, and we're kind of close, but he calls me Danny, and I just never corrected him for 20 years. Still calls me Danny to this day.
That's funny. People always get my last name wrong. I don't correct anybody.
And like the crazy thing is, my name is Michael.
Oh, that's way off.
Yeah, way off. But he calls me Danny, and I just roll with it now, and it's pretty cool. We have a really cool relationship.
You never told him? You got to tell him.
Yeah, no, I never told him, man. And he hooks me up with weed, and I hook him up with beers, and like he's been through family.
You got to give him some beer and say, "Hey, this is from Michael." And when he asks who Michael is, just kind of look at him.
Nah, I'm going down as Danny to him. I ain't taking that away from him.
Oh, do you want to know a fun fact about what Rafiki means? It means friend in Swahili. So, it's the same as like our token, the token that we're issuing. It's called Wimbo, which means melody in Swahili. So all of these names, it seems like they have such an interesting meaning behind them. And
well, look up Finbos. Finbos is a flower. It's a plant that sits right at the precipice of two different like atmospheres or something in South Africa.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's the highlands and the lowlands, right? Yeah, Fynbos is one of those plants, and we actually have a Fynbos like close to our house right here, so I see it on the daily.
Speaking of houses, I finally have some kamikaze. Do you smoke a lot when you make music and things like that, or is it only once in a while?
Yeah, man, like that's why we have the wake and bake, man. I'm a stoner, so I do enjoy, my weed, and I get creative even working on Sonar Muse. That's how I get creative and get my ideas flowing. When I get stuck, that's what I do. I get high, I smoke, and keep working. It actually doesn't make me less productive. It makes me more productive.
Have you heard of moon juice?
By the
Of
way,
what?
kamikaze, do you guys have?
It's moon juice.
Oh, I hope we move now.
It's like an herbal supplement actually. It's a blend of like mushrooms and other stuff, and it's actually really good, especially to add if you smoke, probably, and it'll definitely get your creative juices flowing just a little bit more juicier too. It's all legal kind of mushrooms too, and legal kind of herbs, but the company's name I'm not too sure of, but I know their product is Moon Juice, and they have different mixes of teas. Really good stuff. I do recommend it. It is expensive, but I do recommend it.
Damn, I would want to try that. Yeah, I actually do. I do like shroom trips quite a bit. So yeah,
Yeah, me too,
sounds pretty
kamikaze.
cool.
Finally, I have never been asking you that before in these spaces. So finally, you like shrooms at least. Is there any cool shrooms to run around and pick in Cape Town around there?
Nah, I haven't actually, to be honest, I haven't even been to Cape Town. Hey, I'm all the way in Johannesburg, so um, I would like to go there because I would be interested in being there in the Silicon Cape and being based there where all the fintech companies are. But yeah, with regards to shrooms, I usually would take them like biannually as a way to reflect on, where I am and where I'm going, rather than just using it for, recreational reasons. I use it for, purposes to just, get some answers, you know.
So do you go pick them yourself, or do you buy them, order on the internet, or do you have the grow kits?
I would want to get a grow kit. I don't know where to get them in the wild here, because I don't know which ones are edible, which ones are deadly. So that would be such a scary experience.
Yeah, definitely don't do it then. It could be a bad time.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in the hospital on my deathbed. That would be so sad though.
So what kind of shrooms are you eating the most, kamikaze? Are your favorite pick?
Ones I had was called like Blue Dream, and yeah, that was like it was a pretty interesting trip. Like I had so many epiphanies. Um and yeah, it just changed my perspective of life overall. So yeah, I'm more down grounded now. I feel like, yeah, um just just more about loving one another now. So that's one of the epiphanies. We're not here to do anything else but to spread love and show each other support overall. So yeah, there's room for everybody to be who they truly are. So
Man,
yeah, that's
that's so fun. There's so many like things in the world, and like people think I'm crazy when I talk about this crypto and financial stuff. I'm like, how is this crazy? Like, this is just how it is. I don't know. It's funny. Like, I've never done any of that, so I don't know about that. But the like, I still get called crazy. So
well, it could be a purpose, hey? That could be a purpose, like really talking about crypto and you're passionate about that. So, you gotta live in your truth. And that could be somewhat your truth, and spreading the word about crypto is what you're aligned with.
no, I mean, it just is what it is. Like, it's how it works, and it's just not the kind of stuff that people teach in school. That's the problem. Is a lot of people have a bunch of things, a bunch of thoughts that are actually inaccurate, and when you really start to talk through it with them, they'll understand. But still, it's you take someone that's thought and that's understood something for like a couple of decades, and then you start telling them that's not exactly how it works. It's a somewhat.
Have y'all come across those like First Amendment videos on YouTube?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Like First Amendment videos where people go into courthouses and they request information on like the Freedom of Information Act, where they're like able to get employees of the city's like financials. Like,
I don't know if they can do that. There is FOIA requests, I
yeah,
think.
I'm pretty sure you're able to do that, and like also like look up information on
Oh,
officers,
yeah.
see if they have any reports on
I've
them.
seen those. I like watching those. Those are hilarious.
Yeah, I was like, it boggles my mind. It seems like that community, that First Amendment community, people who want to audit the cops and audit, it turns out like you can also audit like DAs and lawyers that actually work for the state as well.
Oh.
And the lawyers seem really scared about that. There was one little old lady that was like a journalist back in the day, and she's like 60 years old now, and she like tries to get these people, and they freak out, the DAs and the judges, and the things she's finding out are just like crazy. And it just like it seems like that community is really growing. I haven't seen anybody try to implement it on a blockchain, because you hear like the blockchain is immutable, so it would kind of be best to put that kind of information like on a blockchain. And then I kind of get the idea of like maybe we could give each cop like an NFT, and we could see all their information there.
That's very, very interesting. But I just, I just want to say, I thank everybody who comes into the space there, especially everybody who comes up and is a speaker. We wouldn't be doing these every week, Monday through Friday, if it wasn't only for us finding the information valuable, but hopefully we think that everybody else finds this information valuable who gets to listen to these spaces. I think we're gonna close it up. We went a little bit past the 5:30 mark, but if there's any last words anybody would like to say, and then I think we'll close it up.
So if anybody has any questions about Sona Muse or would like to speak to us about anything music related, please don't hesitate to hit us up at info@sonamuse.org. That's info@sonamuse.org. Once again, we are having our artist submissions, our second wave. It might be our second and final wave before we do our launch. And we are on ramping artists. Please check out the Sona Muse account for more information.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for sharing that. And just for everybody, just so we're clear, nothing financial advice. The speakers don't represent ledgerscale. But we definitely appreciate everybody's participation and questions. And, you know, if you do want to continue to or help support our effort, there's some crypto addresses there at the top of ledgerscale, and appreciate it. I don't know if we'll be back tomorrow, but we'll be back Monday.
Yes, we will be